See the hat? It's cold enough for this. Hi guys, and welcome to the third What Have I Been Consuming? This for the month of September. September, I would classify it in one word. Marvel. If you don't know, we've been starting to rewatch some of the Marvel films because my mom has missed out on quite a few. Also, I've decided to rewatch all the Marvel films so I can eventually, before the end of the year, do a ranking of all of the Marvel films from my favorite to my least favorite. So to preface this, I want to mention that I do mention the live-action Mulan, and there is drama, controversy, etc. surrounding it. I did watch it. I do mention Harry Potter in this video. I am a Harry Potter fan. I don't support what J.K. Rowling said. That being said, don't hate on Harry Potter fans for still loving Harry Potter. If you would tell me to boycott Harry Potter, I could not do it. I could never do it. Anyway, with that preface out of the way, let's get on to all of the things that I watched in the month of September, the month before the spooky season. So the first thing that I watched in September, to continue on with the whole Marvel movie rewatch, was I watched the first Avengers movie. You know, it's been a hot minute since I've watched the first Avengers movie. I don't think I've watched it probably since like before Endgame, and I gotta say, the first Avengers movie is a really fun movie. It was such a big deal when it came out, the fact they could have 6 to 7 heroes in a film, build up the cinematic universe, put them all in a film, and it worked. And we thought that was an amazing feat. Compared to now we have Endgame. I really like the first Avengers movie. There are some really great jokes. I like the way they introduced all of the characters, and I just like all the dynamics everyone has. You can see like the relationship, the chemistry between Bruce and Natasha, even though I don't ship it. You can see how Thor plays into the mix, and I really like the dynamic of the movie. It's the first Marvel movie that I ever saw in theaters, and what a great first movie to ever see. So I give the first Avengers film a 7.8 out of 10. To continue on with the Avengers theme, we watched Age of Ultron. I do actually like it. It's definitely my least favorite Avengers film, but it's not my least Marvel film ever. It's actually a really good film. There's some really good like Tony and Cap moments, the whole language thing. Marvel's known for making a joke and then making that joke throughout the rest of the films and then having that joke pay off. Then you have the whole language thing where Cap's like, language, and everyone swears. And then in Endgame, he literally swears up a storm. I don't really like the whole Black Widow and Hulk romance. It's just not my thing. I give Age of Ultron a 7.7 out of 10, so like around a C. I think they had a lot to live up to when it came to the second Avengers film, because the first one did so well and it was a groundbreaking achievement, especially in the superhero world. And it kind of, the one thing that a lot of these Marvel movies do is that they set up other films, and I feel like this film was more of just setting up other films. It kind of set up Civil War. There was the tease of the Infinity Stones, but I did like Ultron. I do love Ultron. I love the costumes they have in this film. Love Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Compared to the first one and other Marvel films, the way it was filmed was very desaturated. It had more of like a grittier like look to the film with like the way the lighting was, and I really liked that effect. Next movie that I saw this month was the live action Mulan. It's definitely not my favorite live action film. It's not my least favorite, but I try to give the live action movies a benefit of the doubt because I do like most of the live action movies, like Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, Aladdin, like Maleficent 1 and 2, those are like my absolute favorite live actions, and I was very excited for Mulan. Obviously it didn't get to go into theaters, and finally Disney was like, we're just gonna release it on Disney Plus for $30. I thought it seemed kind of reasonable based on how much, like if literally me and my family, the 4 of us, went to go see it in theaters and got popcorn and pop, it literally probably would have been almost close to $60, and that was only one time. Because I don't really want to, you know, talk about it too much on my channel or any of my social media because I don't want to get attacked. I'm just kind of like done with the whole issues behind it. Disney fucked up like not talking about it anymore because I don't want to deal with it, and I'm done. There's enough like sadness and anger and upsetting things and stuff in 2020. I'm not gonna bring any more up. I mean, it was trying to be more traditional, the Chinese like culture, but I guess it wasn't. Like, I still prefer the animated version to this one because I like the singing. I miss like Make a Man Out of You and Reflection are like 2 of my favorite songs of all time, and Mushu wasn't in it, and that was kind of upsetting, so I didn't really like the film anyway that much. All right, moving on. The first book that I read this month is one that came out on the 1st of September. The Lost Book of the White by Cassandra Clare, another book in the Shadowhunters, like, huge chronicles. It's hard to describe what they're about, because just Google it, but basically, this is a really bad synopsis. Basically, all the Shadowhunter books, there's many, many books. The Mortal Instruments take place in our modern day world, people that basically draw, like, runes, which are, like, tattoos that give them abilities to, like, hunt and slay demons. That was it's hard to describe this series. Just look up an explanation, or like look up the first book in the whole like Shadowhunter world. The first book is City of Bones. This series is the Elder Curses. This is the Elder Curses series. This is book 2 in that series. This series is kind of like in the middle of the Mortal Instruments. If you want to get into the Shadowhunter books, just look up the official, like, which order to read these books in, because I'm not gonna, it's hard to tell you what they're about, and it's hard to give you, like, an explanation because there's so many books. It's basically the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but with the Shadowhunter books, if you will. But I love this world. I love these characters. This one was so entertaining. I think I liked it a little bit more than the first one because there was a lot more action. It just was so good. This book sets up for another series that I'm so excited about, and I cannot wait. I really love this book. I love Magnus. I love Alec. We got to see the original band back together with Clary, Simon, Jason, Isabel, and I was just so happy. I love these characters so much. The day that I can't read a Shadowhunter book anymore will be a very sad day, and I know it's coming because Cassandra Clare said it's coming, and I'm so sad. Gave it an 8 out of 10 because why not? I love this series so much, and I'm excited for book 3 in this series. I'm excited for more Shadowhunter books. We get one in March, and I'm so excited. I can't wait. The next trio of movies that I watched was, so we decided to watch all 3 Iron Mans this month. This is literally just Marvel month. I really like the Iron Man trilogy. As the title of my last What Have I Been Consuming video, literally the best, I think in my opinion, the best Marvel movie trilogy so far is Captain America. Like, Captain America is so good. The Iron Man trilogy is a really good trilogy. Since it was probably one of the first, like, Marvel movie trilogies, and it ended before, like, even the second Captain America movie came out, and the Marvel movies got better and better as they went along. And so this trilogy is not really the best one, but also it's really good. I really like the Iron Man movies. Third Iron Man, I remember seeing it in theaters and really liking the whole story of Tony having panic attacks and heart attacks and, like, PTSD from, like, the events of the first Avengers, and he has every right to, because literally a guy who didn't even know aliens existed literally found out that gods exist, aliens existed, and that he literally went into a portal with a nuke to nuke an entire alien species that was out to kill New York. Like, that takes some trauma on you, that puts some trauma and, like, gives you things. And so him having, like, heart attacks and PTSD and just being terrified of it makes perfect sense. Like, within a couple days, learned aliens exist, gods exist, and I literally drove a nuke into, like, a portal into another world. That's scary shit, man. He has every right to be terrified and freaking out and having, like, health issues. I understood that. I like seeing our characters struggle and put in very, like, compromising, scary, like, traumatizing, risk, long-term effect, like, things happen to them. That shows that they're human. We all feel that in life. When the Avengers lose, it's like we all lose too in real life. And Tony is having PTSD and getting terrified of the events of New York, having flashbacks, not being able to sleep. There's a lot of people in real life who go through those same things, and it shows you that these characters, fictional they may be, they also know what we go through and they get it, whether they be superheroes or not. I really like that whole concept in the third Iron Man movie. I think my favorite Iron Man is probably the first Iron Man. I really like the third Iron Man. It's not my least favorite Marvel film. I don't think it's the worst Marvel film either. I know a lot of people don't like the whole Mandarin, and I could care less about the I was gonna say the Mandalorian. I don't care a lot about the Mandarin. I'm just there for Tony's journey that he goes on through the film. First Iron Man, I give an 8 out of 10. Really like that. I like Tony's origin story. I think my favorite scene in the entire film is probably when he's building his suit and he does all those test runs with, like, the little, like, remote control arm that he was talking back to. I think that's so cute. And the second Iron Man is also really good. For a while there, the second Iron Man was my favorite Iron Man, but the first Iron Man is probably my favorite Iron Man. I do like the dynamic that Tony goes through in the second Iron Man movie. Like, this arc reactor is slowly killing him. And so he needs to try to find a new replacement for palladium. I think it's palladium. I don't remember. I don't know elements. I don't know science. I'm not a Tony Stark. I don't know nothing. But I really like the dynamic he goes through. I like how everyone starts to hate him because it shows you that he may be a superhero, but if you're a jerk, you're a jerk. So he's slowly dying and he's trying to find a new replacement for the CEO of Stark Industries. And I like the bad guy in this film. The problem with Tony is all of his bad guys that attack him are people that got screwed over by his father and by his company, which is not really Tony's fault because he didn't build his company, but he was there to help like run it and stuff. So it makes sense. And then you have Ultron, who doesn't like Tony, and so a lot of Tony's bad guys for him are personal bad guys, minus the Mandalorian. Not the Mandalorian, the Mandarin. God damn it. But I like the second Iron Man. I like when he's going through that test run to find and to make a new element. I think it's really cool. And I like the second Iron Man movie too. So I give it a 7.8 because I really enjoy it. The next movie and movies that I watched this month to get a better taste in my mouth for Mulan, I watched the first Mulan movie, and then because I really liked the second one growing up, I watched the second Mulan movie. A lot of people don't like the Disney sequel. I like some of the Disney sequels, like Cinderella 2 and Cinderella 3 or some. I like those much better than the first Cinderella. Aladdin 1 and 2, really enjoy those movies. I really like Mulan 2. I gotta say, Mulan 1 is like a classic. It's a Disney classic. And rewatching it, I'm like, yeah, they really didn't do the live action Mulan justice. I really like Disney's live action movies. They don't replace the animated ones in my mind. They were never supposed to. They don't do that. Disney literally said that they're still gonna be there and the live action's still gonna exist. You can like them both separately. I really love the first Mulan movie. It's such a good animated classic. It is so good. I love it so much. Make a Man Out of You is me and my sister's like go-to song. Like whenever I say one lyric, we will sing the entire song together in the car, at home, anywhere we are. We just sing that song like there's no tomorrow. And the second one, I really like the second one too. I give the animated first Mulan a 9 out of 10 because it is one of my favorite Disney movies. And I give the second Mulan an 8 out of 10 because I still really love I Want to Be Like Other Girls is what has been my jam for a very long time. Next 3 movies I watched were the first Thor, the second Thor, and Thor 3, Thor Ragnarok. The only Thor movie I own because I never really enjoyed the first 2, only enjoyed the third one, so I bought Ragnarok, and man, this is my favorite Thor of all time. I don't think I've watched the first 2 Thor movies probably since I saw Thor 2 in theaters, and that was in like November 2013, so it's been a hot minute. I rewatched the first 3 Thors. The third Thor I've seen like multiple times since it came out in theaters because I love it. The first Thor is not terrible. First Thor has good moments. I do really like the first Thor. It's so weird, like you go back and watch the originals, like the original Captain America, the original Iron Man, the original Thor, and they look so young, they look so small, and they've grown so much. I mean, because to be fair, those movies were a long time ago. I like the first Thor. I like the relationship. I like Jane, and I like Thor. I know they're not going to be together anymore, but like, it's fine. It's like not, because they were anyway. Give the first Thor, I think, a 7.6 out of 10, because it's not my favorite Marvel movie. It's kind of like in the lower middle. The second Thor, however, it's a little, I think we were 45 minutes in the film and I just started scrolling on my phone because I was like, I'm kind of bored. I give Thor 2 a 7 out of 10 because it's kind of average. It's like I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I like that there's more Jane in this film with Thor. I like Loki's whole like dynamic and personality going on in this. Throughout the entire Thor second movie, my mom just kept being like, oh, that Loki, like, and I'm like, now you know why we love to hate him and hate to love him, because he's a little sneaky son of a bitch, but he's a good sneaky son of a bitch. We love him, but we also hate him sometimes. The third Thor, I give a 9 out of 10, so a way bigger score than the first 2, because I love the third Thor. I love how it's a comedy, because like, you're talking about Norse gods and all these like weird sayings. It took itself a little bit more seriously, and sometimes it was kind of a joke, and like the dark elves and all that stuff, and it was like kind of like, okay, this is, But I like that they signed up Taika Waititi to direct this film. He did such a good job. I love the way Thor is in this film. He's very comedic, and he just opens up the movie. We're like, oh no, Thor's in a cage. You're probably wondering how this happened. Like, and then you got Korg in this film. I love Korg. So the third book that I read this month was one that, oh my god, was so good. Was Supernova by Marissa Meyer. This is the third book in the Renegades series or trilogy by her, which is kind of like superheroes, but it's got like villains and heroes and what really makes a hero and why are they classified as villains when they don't see themselves as villains and all this other stuff. This book was so good. If you guys like the Marvel movies, you will really like this series. Even if you don't like the Marvel movies, I think you will still enjoy the whole like what makes a hero a hero, what makes a villain a villain. It's kind of like there's also like anti-heroes in here, which I like too. It was very fun. It picked off right where the second book ended, and there was a lot of twists and turns, a lot of things I didn't see coming in this book. It was so good. So if you like kick-ass characters, if you love really cool plots and interesting concepts, and like a little bit of a mystery woven in here, I would recommend this series. So I give Supernova a 9 out of 10 because it was just so much fun. I think this is the only TV show that I watched this month. Whoops. The first TV show that I watched, it wasn't really a TV show, it was like a series that came on Netflix. It came out all in one day and I watched it all in one day. And that was Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. It was this animated little 10 episode. I was Darius, Brooklyn, Yasmina, Amy, Kenji, and Ben. So yeah, 6 kids that get this one-in-a-lifetime chance to go to Camp Cretaceous. And this whole camp is coinciding with the same time that those 2 kids in the first Jurassic World movie are coming to Jurassic World. The main character pretty much is all these kids, but the main character I say is Darius, because literally he is probably the main character, who I think Darius is my favorite character of the entire show. And I really like the dynamic they all go through. Obviously, since it's coinciding with, you know, the 2 kids, Claire's nephews, coming to Jurassic World, you know that the Indominus Rex gets out, and those 6 kids run into the Indominus Rex and have to survive on the island. And we get to see all different parts of the island and the park, which I think is really cool. It's not the best TV show or like cartoon out there, but it's mainly for kids, and I enjoyed it, so there's that. Now, I got to talk about the ending. This is a spoiler. If you have not seen Camp Cretaceous, leave. So the kids are racing towards the end of the like last 2 episodes to get off the island because there's only one more ship leaving and then they're done. So they're on the trams, like they have the ones in Disney World, like the trams, you know, trying to like turn the lights off because the pterodactyls or like the whatever they are, seeing the lights and being attracted to it like a bird. And Ben, to overcome his fear, decides to go up there and try to turn the lights off, and he almost falls off the tram. Darius grabs him, and then one of the birds grabs Ben, and Ben falls off the fucking train. So they think Ben is dead. I think Ben is dead, and I'm like, what the hell? So then the kids go to the docks, and the ship is gone. Literally, these kids are stuck on the island. The last episode ends with the 6 kids stuck on the island, and then you see Ben laying on the ground, his hands twitching, and you see Bumpy with him. So, for season 2, if they do get a season 2, they have to, because like I would be so mad if they just left it at a cliffhanger like that. The thing is, are they gonna get another boat to rescue those kids, or are those kids gonna have to be stuck on that island until like when they went back in the second Jurassic World movie and got all the dinosaurs off there because the island's exploding? Are those kids gonna get off before that, or are they gonna get off during that? Or like, what's gonna happen? Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous was good. I really enjoyed it. I want a second season because I want to know what the hell happens to those kids. So I give Camp Cretaceous an 8 out of 10 because I had a fun time with it. And if it's got me this upset, you know I must have liked it. The third book that I read this month was Reverie by Ryan LaSalle. This is actually his debut novel, which I didn't even know when I bought it, but hey, that's great. And it was a really good debut novel, actually. This book, I didn't know what to expect from it. It's kind of like Inception, but with like dreams and like imagination, and it's really interesting. I'm gonna read the synopsis for you guys because it's hard to explain. Paul Kane Montgomery knows for certain is that the police found him half dead in the river. He can't remember how he got there, what happened after, or why his life seems so different now. And it's not just Kane who's different. The world feels off. Reality itself feels different. As Kane pieces together clues, 3 almost strangers claim to be his friends, and the only people who can truly tell him what's going on. But as he and the others are dragged into unimaginable worlds that materialize out of nowhere, the school gym warps into a subterranean temple, a nearby historical house blooms into a Victorian romance rifled with scandal and sorcery. Kane realizes that nothing in his life is an accident, and when a sinister force threatens to alter reality for good, they will have to do everything they can to stop it before it unravels everything they know. Reverb is a wildly imaginative debut about what happens when the secret worlds people hide within themselves break free. Well, it's kind of like your imagination and these like dreams you have coming to life and like breaking reality, and it's really good. I actually really enjoyed it. It was a really fun, interesting book. I really liked the characters, like the different like dreams or reverbs as they're called coming to life, and the dynamic and the rules felt interesting. So I gave it an 8 out of 10. The next movie I watched this month was one that came out I think early September and I just kind of forgot about it. This was a Netflix original movie and it was The Devil All the Time with Tom Holland, my Spider Boy, Robert Pattinson, my Edward Cullen, Sebastian Stan, Bucky, Bill who was Pennywise, and many more people. Wow, was that film dark and like drama filled and a thriller. Those are definitely not the things I seek out in movies. I don't go to see dark movies. I don't go to see thrillers or like suspense drama filled movies. That's just not my genre that I like flock to. I mainly wanted to see this movie because like my crush since I was 12 years old, Robert Pattinson, was in it, and my current crush, Tom Holland, was in it. So like, man, oh man, was Tom fantastic in this film. He did such a good job. Both him and Robert Pattinson with their accents. Robert Pattinson did not even sound like himself. And that was so weird to hear that coming out of his mouth. So when people don't think Robert Pattinson can act because of Edward Cullen, I'm like, bitch, yes he can. This movie is proof. Tom Holland did a phenomenal job. Not only in his accent, but in his acting, the way he held himself, his like facial expressions. He did a really good job acting. That scene where he's in the church talking to Robert Pattinson about how he's committed sins, but he's really talking about what Robert Pattinson's character did. Oh my god, I was on the edge of my seat. I was like holding my breath, being like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Tom Holland is a good actor. I'm loving that he's getting more serious roles in Hollywood. Not that Spider-Man's not serious, but he's done so many different things. Between Spider-Man, he's done animated things, and now he's done a serious, like, intense role, and he did a really good job. So it is rated R, so if you are under 18, I don't know if, it depends on what you can handle. If you can handle some gore and, stuff like that, I feel like you can be okay. There is some violent stuff that happens in the movie. There are some nudity. I enjoyed it nonetheless. I thought it was a really interesting film. I know it's based off a book, and I'd kind of like to read the book just to see how it compares to the movie. I gave The Devil All the Time an 8 out of 10. Second to last movie I saw this month was I saw Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets in theaters. And so my theater has been showing older films. Last month they showed the first Harry Potter movie in theaters, and I'd never seen the first 3 Harry Potter films in theaters. They were showing the second movie in theaters this month and I had to go. That being said, if you know me, I have fear of spiders, I have severe arachnophobia, it's very bad, and I don't joke around with people with that. So yeah, so the spider scene in Harry Potter when they're going into the Forbidden Forest to talk to, like, I don't know the spider's names, I just don't care. I had this hoodie on and I literally pulled my hood up and just pulled it all the way over my face until the spider scene was over, and then I opened my hood up. But I do give the second Harry Potter film a 7 out of 10. It's not my favorite Harry Potter film because of the spiders, but also it's such a long movie. I didn't realize how long it was. And the last thing that I watched was the first Ant-Man movie. These Ant-Man movies are they're like really fun. Anytime I want to watch a Marvel film, I will always gravitate towards Ant-Man. It's a shorter Marvel movie, but it's quick, it's fun, it's enjoyable. I really like the first Ant-Man. The second Ant-Man is not horrible, but I still enjoy it too. I just love Paul Rudd's Ant-Man. I love like the pacing. I love the structure. I just love everything about Ant-Man. It's so good. So I give Ant-Man an 8 out of 10 because I just love the first Ant-Man. It's really fun. So yeah, that was all the things that I consumed in the month of September. Very excited for October. There's a lot of good stuff coming out in October. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys with another video very soon. Bye guys!